Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, December the 17th, 2024. I'm going to start here with the S&P 500, and just the count really has not gotten any much easier, although I am putting a minuet wave 4, at today's low. And I feel if it really was a triangle pattern, and we've done A, B, C, D, and E, and the other way I can try to look at it is the possibility that, this section was A, but it kind of looks like it could have been A, B, and then we got a C wave down to here. That would have been A, B, C. It just gets very difficult compressed in one little section. This is a 3, this is a 3, 3, and then a 5. So that's 5, 3, 3, 3, 5. And so that I'm counting as corrective. This is a 3. And then this turns into a nasty looking. That's a 5. And then that's 3. And then this is 3. It gets very strange. And this is the hourly. And it just doesn't get any better looking if you move it up and out. So I'm just going to become accepting here and realizing that what can I call it in terms of an alternate? Well, I went over to the SPX. And in the XPX, it does look a little bit clearer. It's just giving the opportunity for that futures market to trade way beyond when the cash market has stopped. And in the cash market, it does look pretty clean to me that it's an A, B, C, D, E. And that's a strange, A, B, C. And that we did start to launch market closed. So I'm hoping that we continue to march higher tomorrow, because indeed the S&P has some legs to catch up with in terms of being more in line with what we've seen in the other markets. Now, granted that pretty much across the board today, we did see a pullback, and the pullback was necessary. So I'm just going to finish up here before I go flipping over to the NASDAQ, because that one also just continues to present its challenges. Back here on the futures market, I'm going to leave it in what happened? Oh, I went to the wrong market. How about that? I'm going to go over here instead, there, where I've got the 4 in place. I have included 2 more. The original for minuet 4, 3A2 is 6,097. 50% is 6,070. Just in case this is some bizarre pattern and that what we've got coming down is a diagonal C. And we go up a little bit and come back down one more time. And it ceases to make sense, but I have to allow for it. And I still want to say that outside of all this, we should get back above 6,100. We should get back above, 6,001, these highs, 6,177, and this high, 6,185. We need to get back above those to complete the move. But by putting that there, I've got guesstimates now, and I'm not even saying estimate, I'm saying guesstimates. So that if indeed we can get a 5th wave going here, it's got a lot of ground to make up, and I really want to see it get back above this level and this level pretty quickly. And I think it can. If we have a solid day where everybody's just moving back into the S&P 500, and we start to really gain some steam and start to make some moves, then that would be great for the wave count. Laboring through this, if I had to, again, as I've talked before, just the possibility that we really got to recount this and mark that high as that's it. It completes. And the NASDAQ all by itself is just kind of like shooting for the moon. So that's why I really am not moving to that. I'm not even pulling it off the shelf. It's like it's been tucked off on the shelf as to, is this all done in the S&P? Is it all done even in the SPX? And we're just faltering around as a start of our first wave down for an intermediate fourth wave. So, I'd have to pull it out and we'd got to take a closer look. I mean, even as minor wave 5, yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? A nice form, everything's fine. It's just right here at the end. And it gets interesting because it's not what I would be expecting. I was expecting this strength, the way it started, to not falter here, but just to pick up and to go, as we're seeing in the NASDAQ. So I'm a little bit in a quandary as to what S&P traders, or just the S&P as a market, is really looking to do here. Are they letting us know that we did finish? And if that's the case, we're looking here that this all finished right there. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5 is actually there, and just got to recount all this internal. And if that is the case, then what we've got coming off, let me go down back to that hourly chart, is this would turn into 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'd be wave 1. And then what do we have possible? A, B, C, X? Or this is a 1, A, B, C, 2, 1, 2, or A, B, C for 2. It's that weird. So I've got my possibilities running, but I need clarification, obviously. We all do, from the market. And even on an intraday, it's like, you know what? S&P, you're making it really difficult just to really put our finger on it to say, okay, this is what you're doing. Are we done? And now we're going to start heading back down. And this was the first little 5 down on the hourly, right? That's what I look for. Did you do it? So do I have to come back inside here and figure out this count cleaner? Right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, and here I know it's 1, 2 again. Right? 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and then that's the 5. So if anything, I get this as a bit strange. Move that to there, put this 2 to here, which is very weird. So, or 1, ABC 2, then we're off to a third. Put the 3 here, the 4, and the 5. I mean, there's that possibility. And now watch what I'm doing again. I'm in the cash. I'm saying this is 1, and that's an A, B, C, 2. That I have seen in a wave 2 position. So I'd move that minuet wave 2 over here. And then we're off to the races, and I put that minuet 3 down here, a 4, and a 5. And that makes, and I've done this before, that changes this to that. This all moves over. This comes down, the 4 comes down, and a 5 goes there, and a 5, and a 5. And this held then in terms of the fib. And everything else falls into place. Now, but then if I'm putting a 5, that would be 1. What do we got going on for this 2? Can't be a triangle. So even if I have to take these off, then A, B, C, 1, A, B, C, 2, 1, maybe C2, maybe. So I'm going to leave this open, but there's my thoughts. And to definitively say one way or the other, I just don't think it's possible right now. Even if you look at, the standard Elliott wave people over at Elliott Wave International, even theirs is basically, there's three counts running at the same time. So I'm very tempted to say that this triangle pattern out the window. I'm going to leave it like that. But here again, you can see it's a little bit different on this one than it is on the cash. But there we have the minute 4. 1, 2, and this all could be 3, 4. And what we have is wave 5 is the extended wave. Wave 1's the shortest. Wave 3 is not the shortest. Wave 5's the extended wave. And we stick a 5 up there, and a 5, and a 3. And then we're starting down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, failure. See, it gets very squashed here. So I'm going to leave it open right now. I'm going to leave the 4 there. Because to me, it's like either the S&P is done, and we're just going to continue to go down, or the tech stocks are going to take over one more time and pull it back up, but likely not to new highs. Under the current count that I have, would still be looking for new highs. But you can see, while the NASDAQ is like doing moonshot after moonshot, here's the S&P's version. There's the first one, there's the second one. And if we compare it to the NASDAQ, it's like the NASDAQ was the first one, the second one is way up there. And this is with the benefit of the roll to the March contract. So, is the S&P in trouble? Question mark. Right now, I'm going to leave this as the 4 is complete, and we'd be expecting to go up. Further downside is going to really bring about a situation where we're going to be looking at it much differently. But right now, I will leave that alternate count out there. That the 3 comes down to here, the 4 comes over to here, and this is an extended 5, but it's minuet 5, minor 5, intermediate 3. And this is wave 1 of minor A of intermediate 4. And this would be all a 2. And it could be, a runner. A, B, C, 2. And this is a 1, again, of a 3. So either this thing just falls off the cliff. And granted, it's like, I don't think the S&P is going to fall off the cliff without the NASDAQ. So you can see the dilemma here, or just the question marks that I have to wait to see what the market's going to do. Tomorrow's Fed Day. So what's going to happen with that? I don't know. It could be, yeah. They could give us that 25 basis points, and market go like, okay, thank you very much. Or they give it with a little bit of conference talk going like, well, we're not so sure. We're going to kind of put a pause on how we want to do this. Or they might start that pause tomorrow. They may say, you know what, we're going to leave them unchanged. That, my friends, I think really puts a kicker to the market. And we maybe start going down. So it brings about this situation where, like, do we really need to go back and revisit our alternates? And even on both, folks, on both, I have alternates that say we're done. And we're already starting to head down. It just, with stocks like Tesla, hell-bent on getting to 500 and above. And I thought you'd been hell-bent on getting 500 above today, but they didn't. And now they're kind of bringing it in a little bit as we get into our after hours. Now, Apple, again, new all-time highs. Again, 253-ish, 254, whatever the situation was. are you going to press on this for year end, or are we done? And in which case, as I've said, I'm looking for the completion point for intermediate wave 3 in the S&P and in the NASDAQ. I need to go over and check the Dow. I need to go over and check the Russell to see, have they already done it? Is it a different wave count? Are we going to start tumbling down right into year end? Is there going to be hell to pay, so to speak? I don't know. But now we're kind of pushing on that cusp. Either we go up and we finish, or we already did. So let's be prepared. I think much will be known tomorrow after the FOMC decision is released and the press conference. Be prepared. Okay, so yes, I'm leaving it here, like it still has to go up. So we have markers at 62.17, which would be a new all-time high for the cash and for the futures market, and 62.41. But there's the window of opportunity to complete the whole shebang if it's not done already. 62.17, 62.41, 62.66, 62.80. That's my window to be done with this. All right, let's go over. I'll just take a quick look at the daily for my moving averages. Look at this. The 8 got broken again today and now is going flat as a pancake. The 20, which was rising nicely, said, well, okay, can't anymore. And what happened? The S&P came right down, sat on top of it, said no, and went up a little bit. That's the S&P. And this is still a mess. Got to go back and change all that again. All right, let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, NASDAQ daily, there's the 3, there's the 4, and here we are in the 5. And the thing is this the daily? The thing is like here, this thing has gone to the moon. It did it yesterday. Today we did pullback. We kind of came down. We got to the 50% marker. It held. We got down to the 50 hourly 50 moving average. It held. We came back down and tested it again. It held. We launched off of it. It does really begin to appear that it's 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're just going to launch. Now, this almost directly opposite of what the feeling we're getting from the S&P 500. They couldn't be more different, even though the top 10 stocks are about the same in both, right? Cap weighted. So, we got Tesla cruising, we got Apple cruising, they got high participation in terms of, what the percentage of in the index. What's holding it back right now, we had some weakness in Meta, we had some definite weakness in NVIDIA all through this. Imagine if NVIDIA decided it's going to go, not stick around between 128 and 130, it's going to go back up to 150, 160. But we'd be up there. We'd be done with this noise. But we're getting a little bit of a change up here. So is it a sign? Is it something that the market is trying to really put through? Say, we're not going to go. We don't think 150 is a possibility. We're now worried about what's going to happen when the new administration comes in and they decide all of these tariffs. Is that going to affect the chips? Big question. No answer. So here we have it. Again, I got to go day by day, and I got to go on what I see. Now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in the 5th, and I got 1 and 2. And again, I'm not happy about the 1, 2. But, it gets really weird because what else could it be? I'm going to tell you what else it could be if it's here. 1, A, B, C, 2. Or this is the weirdest 5. I mean, I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4 did not overlap. There's your ones are all down in there. And then we got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. And it could be the 5. And what's this? Weird, right? So again, how do I count this? How do I count this? I have to leave it 1, 2. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a 3, 4, 5. We're done. And there is a possibility that the S&P won't, and the S&P could be all done, and it's just putting in a different starting pattern. And this sucker will catch up. And it'll catch up because Tesla will be done. Whether it's they get pushed to 500 for whatever the reason is. And again, folks, stop. I can't stop anybody from doing anything, but I will not read these news stories that it's like, well, investors think it's undervalued, so they're willing to keep buying it up. I was like, really? Where's that coming from? Because someone's feeding a story about, well, Elon Musk being in the new administration, he's going to have all these contracts. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's a narrative. And then I don't think it's backed up by any facts that, oh, Tesla's going to get all this new business. Oh, Tesla's going to get all these contracts from the government. Oh, this is going to happen. None of it is cast in stone here, folks. It's all speculation. We all know that story about what happens when you speculate too far. You just set yourself up to be killed. So I think when Tesla's done, and 500 might be the ticket because that's just where somebody's decided it's going to go. And they've gotten close. They're not that far from 500 when you're trading at 485. So is that going to be the magic ticket? Boom, start selling. And they do, and it just drops 1, 2, 200, 300. What happens to our index then? When Apple decides 253 doesn't cut it, now we're going into, oh, we're going to have all of these parts to the Apple phone, folks, are produced overseas. We have an incoming administration that has promised tariffs on imports. Made in America that's going to be the ticket. You got to make it here in America. Well, what do we do in the meantime when they're not ready for that? Are we going to pay $3,000 for an iPhone 17? I imagine some people will. So again, I don't know, and I'm speculating here. But I think that's how close we are. That either we already have and we're just not recognizing the turn. I don't necessarily see it here in the NASDAQ, but in the S&P, and we're dang close here to whipping this thing up here, getting it up, coming down, getting it up, and we're done. And I think even more now that a lot of what's happening in Tesla is in the options. And whether those options really get rolled out past December, this Friday. Because if you're going to the next monthly, you're out into January. And if you're going to roll this stuff into January, I think there's danger. But they may. So I think in Tesla, a lot expires on Friday. I think a lot in the SPX, a lot in the ES, a lot in the spiders, in the Qs is expiring this Friday. And we're going to start to get our hints tomorrow with what the Fed's thoughts about moving forward are. What the Fed's thoughts about, hey, we saw inflation creep back up in both the CPI and the PPI last week. What do you guys want to say about that? What do you want to tell us now? What are higher tariffs going to do to interest rates? What's higher tariffs going to do to inflation? Food for thought. In the meantime, I still got the markers. I think if we're not done, we have additional support at 22,249, which, by the way, we hit today. We got a little bit below, so we hit that support, and we came up off of it. So in essence, let me go over here and clean this up. So all we really have left, right? We hit everything else, and there is the hourly 50 got touched and then got touched again, and then held, and the market just zipped right up and off of it as they came back into Tesla this afternoon into the close. But if we still have more downside, don't want to see it there, because guess what? See, wave two cannot, I don't really want to see it start to break there. It's not a wave two, but even if it is the inside of a wave three, yeah, you can. But that would be 22,202. That's our next support. Don't necessarily really need to see it back below there. Otherwise, I got a very strange pattern to work out coming up into this noise. So we're going to see. We are going to see. But upside, we're going to have that for the downside. Upside, we need to clear all this. We're going to have points now, right? 22,340, 22,380, 24,20 or 15,20. And then we have that, our all-time high right now, 22,450. Get above there. We start to have our completion here at 22,523, 22,620 to 655, 22,735 to 785. That's where I think we can all come in. And then above all that are the higher levels for the minor five and the intermediate third. But we're just looking for this minuet wave five to complete, and that'll complete minuet wave five, minute wave five, minor wave five, intermediate wave three. That's what I'm looking for. So the intermediate and the minor degree, they're going to finish up wherever this fifth wave comes in, because it finishes everything else below it. So, or above it, I should say. So when we're getting to the end and we can cleanly count and put minuet fifth wave in there, then it's going to complete the minute fifth wave, it's going to complete the minor fifth wave, and it's going to complete the intermediate third. Then we got trouble. And right now we're starting to get the cracks in this. It's like people are like, I don't know if I'm going to wait for this expiration for the whole thing, to implode on itself. So we're starting to see some shifting. We have to wait and see, folks. In the meantime, I have to say that trading is still presenting a lot of opportunities as a day trader, because as you know, that's what I am. I have been a position trader. I was carrying big positions. I was an options market maker, so I've done all that. But right now, I'm just in and out every day. And my long-term positions are not in equities. So, in any case, here in the NASDAQ, I also continue to feel that we have additional upside. And I think we're into the third day of the week out of the 5 that we had with this volatility, with this very, very, very large expiration on December the 20th that is extremely call heavy. Extremely call heavy. And when that gamma gets released through the expiration of all those options and all of those instruments, it's going to produce a pop in volatility and a sell. We might get just a little vacuum drop type of thing. We'll see. All right, this is where I'm going to have to finish it, because otherwise I'm just going to keep talking away. Let's go take a look and see what we got. Besides FOMC coming out tomorrow, we have housing starts and building permits. Boom, that's at 8:30 a.m. And then we all sit tight until 2 p.m. Eastern. And that is when we'll get the decision from the Fed. And then at 2:30 Eastern, we have Chairman Powell stepping up to the mic. The next daily update will be on Wednesday, December the 18th.